Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like it's not going good for the modern audience yet again, because we have a new report coming out from That Park Place that says Star Wars Outlaws sales are 55% lower than Star Wars Jedi Survivor in the United Kingdom. And this is probably going to translate over into other regions and areas as well, because that's usually what happens, unless we're talking about a really extreme region-specific game, like maybe a JRPG or something, or a Chinese game like Black Myth Wukong. But still, they are obviously not going to be doing very well. And as I expected, I never said this game was going to be a failure. I still don't think this game is going to be a failure. I just don't think it's going to sell nowhere near as much as the modern audience is hoping that it does.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Not only is the modern audience notorious for not showing up to video games, but the modern audience also doesn't understand how business works. That's just a fucking fact, right? They think that the ideology should be enough for people to want to play the game. And if you don't play the game, that means you're against the ideology, right? That means you're a bigot, you're a phobe, you're whatever they might want to call you. The modern audience is a joke. They're one of the most reliable and unreliable sources of people that I can ever, possibly imagine. When it comes to reliability, the only thing they're reliable at is not showing up, right? Everything else they're completely unreliable at. They're a joke. So Star Wars Outlaws apparently sells 55% lower in the United Kingdom. So, of course, before we get into this, guys, from That Park Place, before we do, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says a new report claims that Star Wars Outlaws sales are 55% lower than the sales of Star Wars Jedi Survivor in the United Kingdom. Now, I liked the Star Wars Fallen Order. I like Jedi Survivor. I liked those games. I thought they were very good. I thought they were not really like Souls-like. People try to make them seem to be Souls-like, and I get it. I totally get it. It is like sort of Souls-like, but I really put it in the same avenue of Black Myth Wukong, where it's trying to be its own thing, but it happens to take some action RPG elements that have been made very much famous from Software. So I get it. It's like a Souls-light, more like a Souls-like. You know what I mean? Then it says that according to Nintendo Life, Star Wars Outlaws topped the sales charts in the United Kingdom, besting Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, and EA Sports FC 24. However, games industry head Christopher Dring reported launch sales are 55% lower than what Star Wars Jedi Survivor did. He also noted it was 15% bigger than Ubisoft Massive's last game, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now, I don't know how their Avatar game did. Last I saw, it didn't do very well. So I got to imagine being 15% over a game that didn't do very well is not exactly super impressive. But 55% lower than Star Wars Jedi Survivor, that's a pretty big hit, right? And it shows that there are people out there that are not exactly looking for Star Wars content anymore. Star Wars is still a massive IP, there's no doubt about it, but it has absolutely been hit with apathy for a lot of its viewers that used to watch it religiously, and now they just don't give a shit, right? They can wait for it to be on sale. If it's a video game, they can wait until the season is complete. If it's a TV show, before they binge watch it. They don't have to be the first ones to buy this product anymore, and that's sad considering that Star Wars was that kind of IP, right? You had to buy it when it first came out. You didn't want to miss that new movie. You didn't want to miss that new TV show. But unfortunately now, apathy has set in. It says, in a follow-up, he added, so it turns out there may be some missing data from the physical numbers. So it's worth waiting for the end of the week when the digital stats are in, which is true generally. Now, again, digital is absolutely the top selling when it comes to Star Wars or any game, right? Digital is, I think they said the majority, like 85% of sales or something like that. It takes up the majority of sales. So if we're just comparing to physical, that is not a perfect idea of the number, but I will say that it's a good idea of how it's going to translate to digital, right? If the physical sales are massively down like that, then you got to imagine the digital sales will probably reflect in almost the same manner and be massively down as well compared to whatever you're trying to compare it to. In this case is Jedi, Survivor. So it says, however, data points indicate that Star Wars Outlaws might not be selling that well at all. True Trophies reported in the most popular PS5 and PS4 games charts, which ended the week of September 1st, that Star Wars Outlaws placed 25th on the chart in its first week release. The outlet's Kess Essler Stevenson shared number 25 is just below the middle of the chart, and it sits behind pretty much every other major and middling live service game in terms of popularity right now. Normally, these are the early 20 spots where PS Plus indie games debut, not new AAA open world games. For comparison, it performed worse than games such as Red Dead Redemption 2, Helldivers 2, Elden Ring, Ubisoft's own Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and Black Myth Wukong. I mean, to be fair, everything's performing less than Black Myth Wukong because that game is destroying the entire modern audience. Look, man, like I said in the beginning of the video, this game is not going to be a failure. It's just not going to sell nowhere near as much as previous Star Wars games have sold because people are checked out, right? A lot of people who used to be fans of Star Wars are now checked out, and they also don't want to support a company like Ubisoft. You cannot underestimate the power that that can have, right? People do not like Ubisoft. People do not like what Ubisoft is doing. Let's just forget the wokeness, right? Forget the fact that Ubisoft is a woke-ass fucking company, which they are. If you try to say that they're not, you're a fucking liar. Ubisoft is a woke-ass company. But even if you take that away, Ubisoft is inherently anti-gamer, anti-consumer. There is no doubt about it. Ubisoft is a shit fucking company when it comes to their monetization practices, when it comes to how they release their video games in broken states and expect to fix it a month or two later. They are inherently anti-gamer and anti-consumer, and that is enough for a lot of people to check themselves out of Ubisoft products. Now you're going to throw in the fact that Ubisoft has been virtue signaling nonstop about woke nonsense, and then that's enough to push people who probably weren't over the edge. So yeah, you're going to see what happens when you start making this, this like false virtue perception on Twitter as a company. Ubisoft, the greatest company ever. Look how diverse we are. Nobody's going to buy your bullshit, and then people are going to check themselves out, myself included. I am fully checked out of Ubisoft games, which is sad because I used to love buying Assassin's Creed. I used to love buying the Far Cry series. I used to love those games, and now I haven't bought them for years because I just don't fucking care, and I don't like what Ubisoft is doing aside from the wokeness. They are predatory in their monetization in multiple different ways, and they're inherently anti-consumer. On top of all this, Side Scrollers podcast owner and host Stuttering Craig, shared that a source inside a major box store retailer informed that there had only been 41 pre-orders for Star Wars Outlaws in a major metropolitan area where 27 locations of the chain are located. He wrote on X at the end of August, "I have an insider who works for a high-traffic game store in one of the most populated places in the U.S. They have 27 stores in that area, and there have been a total of 41 pre-orders for Star Wars Outlaws. 41! There is no hype for this game." Yeah, this game is fucking dead in terms of hype. I think the people who are going to buy it are one of two kinds of people, right? They're either the Star Wars fans that buy absolutely anything. As long as you have a Star Wars label on it, they're going to buy it. And there's people out there that are like that, right? There's people out there that are like that. They're never going to change. It's always going to be that way. They're called shills for a reason, right? Then you have the people who are going to buy it because it matches their ideology, right? So it depends on which one it is. But in terms of actual real gamers, very few of them are going to pick this up day one because a real gamer knows that a Ubisoft game is going to go on sale within a couple of weeks for like 50% off. That's how Ubisoft games go. And by the end of like the third month, it's going to be 80% off. So why would you want to pay full price when you could wait literally just a couple of weeks and you'll get a sale? So at the end of the day, man, Star Wars Outlaws is going to perform how it's going to perform. Whether or not it's a big hit or not, that's still yet to be seen. But unfortunately, when it comes to Ubisoft, unlike Black Myth Wukong, which proudly talked about its numbers, well, we haven't really got any. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.